GPT 5.1 is out, and OpenAI is claiming that it is a more smarter, more conversational ChatGPT. They're upgrading the GPT-5 series with the release of GPT 5.1 Instant and GPT 5.1 Thinking. And in this video today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be conducting a side-by-side comparison of GPT 5.1 and GPT-5. Also, we're going to be talking about some of the benchmarks and why there was a need for GPT 5.1. So stay till the end of the video, and I'm going to make sure that you have a full grasp of why OpenAI released their new models and how powerful they are in comparison with GPT-5. So without further chatter, let's get started with the video. Hi and welcome back to Skill Club. This is Hosham Reyes and we're finally getting started with this video. So first off, let's talk about the GPT 5.1 Instant. So they're claiming that their most used model is now more warmer because there were some claims about GPT-5 being too cold or maybe too machine-like. And people were actually missing GPT-4o behavior, and it's more intelligent and better at following your instructions. And GPT-5 Thinking is their advanced reasoning model, which is now easier to understand and faster on simple tasks. Because earlier on, the GPT-5 Thinking used to overthink and make things complicated. But now, with this major update, the GPT 5.1 Thinking is only going to think as much as needed and not going to spend the same amount of think capabilities on each and every prompt, but is still going to be more persistent on complex ones. Now, earlier on, we were talking about the cold behavior of GPT-5 and how it is improved in 5.1. So here you can see that they're claiming in the early testing, it often surprises people with its playfulness while remaining clear and useful. So this is how AI is going to give you a feel that it's not a machine, it's more like a companion with you or your assistant. They also improve the instruction following, so the model is more reliable and answers only what you have asked. And they have also optimized the GPT 5.1 Thinking. You can see the benchmarks here. So the darker shade is the GPT 5.1 and you can see it spends less time on simple tasks with a reduction of 57%, and it spends more time on complex tasks. This way you can intelligently spend the thinking compute and time on the problems where it's actually needed, which is a really smart move pulled by OpenAI. Alright, so that was a brief overview of why GPT 5.1 update was needed and what is this update. But also with the model improvements, they are making it easier for you to customize your ChatGPTs. So now you can give it a base style, whether you want it to be friendly, whether you want it to be efficient, nerdy, cynical, or professional. It's really up to you. So you can customize your own ChatGPT and make it your personal assistant. So that was all the theory. Now let's get started with actually the comparison of GPT-5 and 5.1 models. So let's get started with the lab. So for these tests, I have already planned out some of the prompts. So the first test that I'm going to be conducting is inspired by one of OpenAI's examples. So I'm going to give both of these models the same instruction that always respond in 5 or 6 words. And then I'm going to start the conversation. And I'm expecting that the legacy model might break down in the middle and forget about the history. So let's go ahead and try this out. So there you go. We have the same prompt right here. Always respond in 6 words, always respond in 6 words. Now, the next question is going to be about my travel destination. So, where should I travel for my 2 months holiday in summer? So, I'm just going to go ahead and enter that prompt here. And yet again, I'm going to hit enter at the same time. So, let's see how both of these models respond. So, there you go. You can see that GPT 5.1 Instant, what it did is it responded in 6 words: explored Japan, Italy, Canada, Greece, and Switzerland. While the GPT-5 Instant is not responding according to the instructions that I gave it. So it's responding in more than 6 words right here. And it also generated some of these images. This might be helpful in some of the cases, but I would always want my assistant to only stick to what I ask it to do and not start hallucinating. So this is where they improved the GPT 5.1 Instant. The second test I want to conduct for the GPT 5.1 Instant is its ability to actually be warmer in a conversation. So let's go ahead and try out another example prompt we have here. I'm feeling stressed and could you use some relaxation tips? I'm going to go ahead and paste the same prompt in GPT-5 Instant, the legacy model. Let's go ahead and try this out. Now, keep your focus on the way it talks to you. So here you can see this is the GPT-5 Instant. Here are some simple, effective ways to relax when you're feeling stressed. And there you go. You have a very accurate breakdown of calming techniques. But here in GPT 5.1 Instant, you can see here are some simple practical relaxation tips you can try right now. No longer routines, no special setup. And you can see the difference right there. This is more of a professional way of speaking. Right here, you can see it kind of added this slogan here, and then the breakdown is more human like or something that is easier for a human to understand rather than just simple sentences here, which is actually accurate, but this is more warmer. So their claim that GPT 5.1 instant is now warmer and more intelligent is accurate. Now, these were simple tests that I conducted for GPT-5 Instant and GPT 5.1 Instant, but I was most excited about the GPT 5.1 Thinking because I regularly use GPT-5 Thinking for my coding problems. So let's get started with the coding test and check out whether GPT 5.1 Thinking has gotten better than GPT-5 Thinking. Alright, so in the first test, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving it a code sample of PostgreSQL, and I'm going to ask it about the security vulnerabilities in this code. So let's go ahead and paste that code here. So the prompt goes like, perform a security review of the login function and identify vulnerabilities, explain exploitation risk, and rewrite a secure version. So you can see that we have the code right here, and we have the same prompt going on at GPT-5 Thinking as well. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see that it thought for 9 seconds, which means it's faster than the thought process of 10 seconds, which is right here. So this means that it's more intelligent of where to spend time and where not to. So it was not that much of a complex task, so it did not spend much time on it. Whereas in the legacy GPT-5 Thinking, you can see that it spent more time on it, and you can spot the difference right on. You can see we have a step-by-step guide of what was wrong with the code and how to fix it. So you see we have what was wrong with the code, SQL injection, and what is the problem, how you're gonna fix it, and there's the result. And then there was this plain text password check, which is a risk as well. And then it goes on and gives you a chain of vulnerabilities that can be exploited. And here you can see it gives dry explanation, which is kind of accurate, but it overthought the process. And now it gives us the principles to fix it and the fixed code. In this manner, GPT 5.1 Thinking is helping us also learn and understand the problem, not just giving us the solution. So I would go with GPT 5.1 Thinking. Now for the second test, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give it a bubble sorting code, and I want it to convert that Python code into a C++ code, and I'm going to specify a certain library that I want to use. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to paste in my prompt right here. So here goes the prompt. Convert this Python bubble sort implementation into optimized C++ using std vector and early exit detection. And it's going to explain all improvements. I'm really looking forward to the results right here because this is going to test its optimization and multilingual responses. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter on both of these models. There you go. They started thinking. So you can see that we have the answer already for GPT-5 Thinking, whereas GPT 5.1 Thinking is still generating. Here you can see we have the converted code and what was improved and why it's faster and safer than the complexity. While here you can see we have the code, then we have an explanation of what was improved compared to the original Python version. So we have a chunk of code from the converted code, and it's actually explaining each chunk one by one so that it's easier for us to understand. Not just a theory based on text, which was produced by GPT-5 Thinking. We have a more visual and also a more easier way to understand what was improved, what was the original Python, and how it converted that into a more safer and tighter improvement into C++. After all of these improvements, we also have an optional further improvement idea, which is quite good. So we have the code here, we have the same idea here, but in text. So I would say that this upgrade with GPT 5.1 has made the models more intelligent in the way they respond. And now it is easier to understand what the AI is actually saying and not just copy pasting whatever we see on our screens. So this was the second test. I want to conduct a last test with the GPT 5.1 Thinking and GPT-5 Thinking, and then I'm going to give out my honest reviews about these. So in my last test, I'm going to be testing the multiple constraint capabilities of 5.1 Thinking. What I mean by that, we have multiple numeric values in this reasoning question, and I'm going to be using the same prompt for both of these models. So a restaurant has 5 tables and serves 3 types of meals. Each table can have only one meal type, and total meals sold is 37. Now, table 1 sold 8 meals, table 2 sold 6 meals, and table 3 sold 7 meals. Table 4 and 5 sold the rest in a 2-to-1 ratio. How many meals did each of the last two tables serve? Provide full reasoning. So I did test this exact prompt on different thinking models, and sometimes they start hallucinating. There you go, you can see we have both of these responses. So GPT-5 thinking, the legacy model, thought for 15 seconds, and here's the thought process. And here's the thought process of GPT 5.1 thinking. You can see the optimization in the thought process. The older models overthink, but here you can see it went straight on point and thought about only what was needed. Alright, so we have the response here. Total meals for table 4 and 5, so approximately 10 meals and 5 meals. And it also explains why this is a problem and the conclusion. Here you can see that we have a result which is that table 4 sold 10 meals and table 5 sold 5 meals, which is actually inaccurate because the result should be no valid integer solution, because if you go and do 2:1 for 16, it's going to return an approx value, not a whole integer like here. So it neglected the approximate value and just gave a result, which was improved in the GPT 5.1 thinking. So this was my last test, and GPT 5.1 passed this as well. Now, after conducting all of this testing, my honest reviews about the GPT 5.1 update is that this update quite helpful for the end user. So I would highly suggest you guys to go ahead and try out GPT 5.1 and let me know what you think about this new update. With that said, I want to wrap this video up. I hope this video was helpful for you to understand about this new update and why it was needed. Also, we went on and did all the testing so that you have a generic idea of what is improved and how it looks. With that said, let's wrap this video up. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Ring that notification bell to never miss out on our daily updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Till then, stay curious and keep exploring.